The headlines are calling it a housing recession because, you know, if it bleeds, it leads. But what does the data show? And let's not forget, those headlines are covering the entire nation. It doesn't focus on us here in little old Routt County. Well, we're not that little. By size, we're larger than the state of Rhode Island and almost as big as Delaware. So as everyone asks, how is the market in Routt County in August? Let me preface this first with a mea culpa. When I first began compiling numbers for the past 2.5 years, I've been using a rolling average over a 12-month period instead of setting it monthly. And this is where I would get very large numbers like over $1 billion in total volume for the year, when in reality, there was, say, for example, August was almost $105 million. But for the most part, those averages for a 12-month period stayed very similar to the monthly data. I do want to make sure from now on I keep accurate data, so I'm changing my reporting to reflect those numbers. Also, I primarily look at year-over-year numbers because the month-over-month numbers don't reflect the long-term changes in the market. I also use the median rather than the average because the average numbers get skewed more often than not by a few high-dollar closings. And here's what I mean. If I were to go with the average purchase price for a home in August, that price would be over $1.28 million. But when you look at the median sales price, it's more like $905,000. Now, even more important part is that the increase in price between this August and last August was 22% in the median, where it was only showing 16% on average. Granted, both percentages are pretty high, but the difference makes it even more so. There are some absolute numbers that don't need to adjust for median, like number of closed listings. There are only 82 properties sold in August compared to 108 last year, a 24% decrease. And this brings us back to that total dollar volume for August, $104.9 million. This is off by 12% from last year. How does this translate to supply and demand? Well, one of the traits that makes a good realtor is reading the market without necessarily seeing all the data. I've been sensing that homes are taking longer to sell, and the data actually backs it up. For the overall market in Routt County, it now takes 12 days compared to 9 last year to go from list to pending. That's a 33% increase. The funny part is last year there were months where I would have said only 12 days instead of now saying as many as 12 days. And the month supply popped up to 2.4 months, an increase of 26% over last August. When you see that there was 13% fewer active listings overall and 45% fewer new listings, that tells me that the rise in interest rates and talk of recession in the large market has cooled off some previously hot buyers. But remember, a stable market is 6 months. So at 2.4, we're still in seller's market territory. And the value remains high. At 99.9% sales to list price ratio, the weight of those price sales also matches where buyers purchased for less than list price. Now, I know from my emails that the number of price reductions have also increased over the last year. The absolute number is 106 over last August 62, but when you look at relative price reductions, reductions per active listing, that number has actually doubled, and those reductions are happening quicker. There are 8.3 price reductions for every day on market now compared to a 6.9 last year. Sellers are smart and know it is taking longer to sell and are not letting the price ride. Expect this to continue through September as there are a third fewer homes under contract as there were last year. So there's the recap for August 2022 for Routt County. Forgive me for mangling data up to this point. I will be better from here on out, and we'll check to make sure there aren't other spots where I need to refine those statistics. Next up is the price segment, then type, then area updates. Please give me a call if you have any questions, 970-846-0797. Email me at johnjames@jamesteamsteamboat.com. or leave a comment in the video. Thanks for taking this trip with me. Until next time, take care.